card with a cash withdrawal. So for credit cards, there are always two promos, either cash withdrawal that allows you to get cash out of your card or credit balance transfer. So what balance transfer does is, for some of us that has 4 or 5 credits, so if we already spend on a particular credit and the interest is almost running out, the interest-free period, we can transfer the balance to another credit card. So it's like playing the games so that you won't be paying monthly interest. But I think the area that might be much interested for people that are just going to credit card is getting the cash out. So what most credit organizations does is they will tell you there is a cash withdrawal promo. It could be for 24 months, it could be for 36 months. So what they will tell you is, throughout the 24 months, you are not paying any interest. However, there is a one-off payment as at the time you are getting the money out. So like Pastor Charles said, Barclays is about 3, some will do, I think the least you will get is about 2.9. So I say on a 5,000, for example, 2.9 on 5,000 pounds is 149. You will pay on spot, but you will have access to 5,000 pounds, which you can use for whatever you want to use for. However, despite the fact that you are not paying interest monthly, you will still need to be paying a minimum repayment. So for like 5,000 pounds, your minimum monthly repayment will be about 80 pounds, with paying your capital back. But do the calculation well. If you pay 80 pounds monthly for 12 months, that's just 80 times 10, 800, 960. For 2 years, 1,009 something. They will start charging you interest after that 2 years. But what we're trying to say is, if you have a good business, a good and viable business, emphasis. So even if it's taking you 12 months to get things right, in the second month, you will have gotten your grip. You should be paying more than 80 pounds. However, earlier I said you can have more than one credit card. So for people that have more than one credit card, as the 24 months is coming closer, they look for another credit card that is doing a credit transfer and just move the 5,000 to that credit transfer. So at that point in time, they will only pay maybe about 140 pounds again, rather than start paying monthly interest. So it's getting to understand how it works in order to do it. But I've said you will need to build your credit profile to even start, to have access to credit. Any question? Yeah, exactly. You don't even pay it on the spot. It's just added to your 5,000. So they just assume you are borrowing 5,149. I said another discussion, why the family business often fails. So why, I think we discussed this earlier. Maybe we should just skip it because of our time. So, or maybe one or two people should talk about it. So we are talking about family having a business now. Why do we think family business fails? Anyone? Why do we think? Well, as far as I'm concerned, we are meant to be one. So either couple, either single. Why do we think family business fails? Because I believe even if I have a business in my name, it's still for the family. My wife has a business, but as far as I'm concerned, it's still the family business anyway, but she's the one running it.
The reason why any family business will fail is basically on the fact that they don't share the same vision. So, like you said now, the wife is running the business, okay? And there will be points that she will need support. There will be times that she will need you to bounce ideas with her. So at that point in time, if you are not showing any interest, it's no more a family business. It's now one person's business in the family. And if that business starts struggling, obviously you know where that will end. So you need to share the same, you need to be on the same wavelength, share the same vision. I grew up in a family where my mom started off a catering outfit. We were all involved. The only person that was not involved was my dad. Every one of us, she tagged every one of us on. And as God will have it, it's through that business we all went through uni and graduated. Praise the Lord.
Thank you for that. The vision is really important. Any other person before we move on?
I think when there is no trust between the couple, like you said, maybe your wife has a business, it's in her name, and the business start, growing so well, and maybe the man is not fully in participation with the business, and maybe the woman start making so much from it, and you see that the trust goes away. He or she believes this is my business, and I should take decision. And something else could be if the woman or the man cannot manage, the money, the finances, things could go wrong. So they have to be trust, they have to work together for the business to succeed.
Thank you. I can still give room for one more contribution.
Praise God. I've seen family business grow and I've seen many failed. One of the reasons why I've identified is inability to separate, the family finance, the family business finance from the family finance. So what I'm trying to say is that, for example, I've seen some men, if there's a need in the house, they just say, go and take it from the business. They want to buy anything, go and take it from the business. They want to buy something, go and take it from the business. And because of this, you are eroding the capital of the business. Rather than, for example, if it's a man that has been giving allowance at home before, but once the family business started making money, if you stop giving money and say everything, take from the family business, by so doing, you are eroding the capital that's supposed to be plowed back into the business so that the business can grow and expand. By not being able to account what belongs to the business and what belongs to the family. These are things that I've seen that makes family business to fail.
Thank you. I think they've given us good 3 examples. We talk about vision, we talk about faithfulness, and we talk about accountability. And in everything we do, I think all those 3 factors are really important. I won't waste much time on that. And God actually even have a minimum standard, even for financial as well. Matthew 25:23 says, well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful with a few things, I will put you in charge. Need trust, even not just about going outside this discussion now. For people that have businesses, you talk about your supply chain, people you actually mingle with, because every business actually needs survival. Accountability is really key. It is how we faithfully manage what He has given us that determines whether He will give us greater things to manage. So whatever situation we find ourselves, I think it's really important for us to actually manage it effectively. Savings and investments is key. So I've come up with that chart, just going back to our initial discussion to say, every one of us, I think at a point in time, again, going back after today, if you don't have a plan, you just need to go back and make that plan. How much percentage of my income has to go to expenses? If, for example, currently I spend 70% of my income on expenses, and going back doing my calculation, I shouldn't be going more than 50%. I think you just need to go back and start thinking, what can I take off my expenses? We can do that. It's only if we are determined not to do that. And if we always look at the fact that the future is not certain, even though yes, we have Christians, but God doesn't say we should not plan. In fact, God is a good planner. The Bible makes us to understand He developed everything in 7 days. If God is not a good planner, He won't have such plan in place. So even as Christians, I think we should be role models to people around us on how we spend our finances. So savings and investment is key. Emergencies enough to cover. Pastor Charles mentioned earlier that we should try at most as 6 months. Even if we cannot do 6 months, let's go for 3 months. Economic situation is bad at the moment. Everywhere UK is going into recession. So now imagine if anything happens to my job, to your job, where do you think you will find yourself? If you have mortgage to pay, I think the interest rate as at yesterday is 5.9, if I'm right? 6%. Yeah. So let me give you the implication of that. So for somebody that is paying a mortgage, a repayment mortgage of about 625 on about 2%, and the interest rate went to 5.9, the repayment will go from 625 to 1,300. And out of the 1,300, 1,000 is the interest. Your capital repayment is just barely 300. So the question is, out of your salary, if you have to carve out 1,300 minus 625, that's a lot of money. So again, going back to the fact that emergencies might come. As children of God, we will face emergencies as well. Of course, well, probably this might not be applicable to everybody. Education is free for our children. That is if your children. Retirement as well. Plan for your retirement. I don't know. I know some people might say in order to keep fit, they want to work at 70. It's good for them. I don't pray for that. So it's a personal choice. There are other things I could actually do to keep fit, not by working. Please. So I've said, let us think ahead to avoid problems. We need to think ahead, and I've put a lot of Bible verses there to give us reasons why we need to. So I'm just going to run through all this. Which one of you, when he wants to build a tower, does not first sit down and plan? That's the Bible verse. So the key emphasis there is we need to plan, even as a child of God. God made all this planning when he was creating the earth. So what is making we children of God not having appropriate plan in place? Too often we put off planning until we are so much in deep mess. That is when we remember that, oh, I should have done it this way. In fact, as a project person, there's what we call options appraiser. For every decision you make, there are different ways of getting to that goal or objective. Why don't you sit down, look at the different objectives? Yes, I'm talking. I think for me personally, I've learned my lesson in hard ways as well. At times, even that business that seems great, the option could have been, don't do it. And I've gone into it, and I really got it. Yeah. So our time is going. I'll just be winding up again. Keep good records. Records make you to reflect. I'll send these slides out. Proverbs 24, 3 to 4 talks about keeping record. If you don't keep a record, there's no way you can reflect and go back and see how things work. We're talking about getting educated. Everybody at a point in time, you need to speak to somebody. Initially, I said I'm not an expert in finance, pay of our monthly income. We tend to focus on that, not actually considering the impact, the cost, what is costing us. And probably almost there, 2 slides to go. If we look at this slide, you actually have this and a golden health that actually came out of that. Probably I'm going to ask, don't speak please. If I ask you which one will you pick, this is a golden head. You can actually melt it to become a millionaire. Which one do you think is